this is Izzy at Minerva. Thanks for joining me today. We are going to be looking at our full bust adjustment today. Now we're going to be looking at this in relation to our bodice block that we've all drawn up, and this is bespoke to you. So go and grab your bodice block and your calico sample that you've sewn up, and let's take a look at how to do this full bust adjustment on our block. Obviously, we were expecting and would hope that our block should be fit to measure and fit to fit us in that area. However, there are always going to be fit alterations, even if you've sewn something up to fit your body perfectly, as we've done with our block. So let's get straight on into it, and I'll go and grab my model. In this particular fit alteration, what we're going to get is, because the bust is bigger than the garment that we've got, we're going to get drag lines that come all the way out around the bust completely, as you can see in the sketch next to me. So this is an alteration where we're just seeing a lot of drag lines all the way across the bust. If this is something that you're having to do with your own bespoke block, I would probably anticipate that you're going to have to do this for a lot of patterns. Now I'm just going to show you one technique today in how to do the full bust adjustment, but depending on where your darts are, so for us there's one coming down from the neckline and one up from the waistline, depending on where your darts are and depending on the way that your pattern has been drafted, your full bust adjustment may need to be altered and done in a slightly different way. In this video we're obviously just going to look at how to make the alteration for this specific block. Let's get straight on into it together now. Now, for the purpose of this video, in front of me I've got a printed out version of my front bodice. However, for you, I thoroughly recommend that you trace over your bodice block to start off with and pop that down on a piece of paper in front of you. So on this block, we know that this is that point there at the very bottom of the dart is our apex. Make sure you're really clear on where that is on your block, and our block has no seam allowances on it at all. The first thing we're going to do is close up this dart up here. So draw in a line from the apex to the side seam that is about 1/3 of the way down the side seam. Next, I want you just to cut up that line, leaving a little pivot point at the apex. You'll also want to cut down your bust dart as well. Once you've done that, you can then pivot your pattern piece to close up the bust dart completely. We've now removed the volume from there and we've added it into the side seam, which is great. We're next going to draw just a few lines as guidance. The first thing we're going to do is to draw a line perpendicular to the centre front line and across to the apex. The next thing we're going to do is to mark the centre point of the waist dart and join that up to the apex as well. Next, I want to draw a line from the apex to about 1/3 of the way along the arm side. I'm doing lots of lines to the apex, aren't we? It's a critical point. Okay. Next, we're going to cut from the waist dart up to the apex and then continue along, leaving a pivot point at the arm side. Make sure that you're ensuring that both of these two pieces are staying together around the apex. Great, so at this point it's going to just start to pivot out really beautifully. I then want you to continue that centre line down the waist dart. Just continue it down, maybe about 10 centimetres below. And also continue the centre front line just a little bit further, extend that along. The next thing we want to do is to determine how much volume we want to add in to the block at this point. So how much volume we want to give over the bust at this point, so to widen the bust area by. Now obviously this depends on how much you need to add, and everyone's measurement will be bespoke. So figure out approximately how much volume you think you need to add into your overall circumference around your bust, and then divide that by 2, because we're only working on half of our body, aren't we? So if you think you need an extra 4 centimetres just to give yourself enough volume around your bust, the amount that you're going to add into your block at this point is only 2 centimetres. So for me, I'm going to assume that we're adding in 2 centimetres to our block, and I'm just going to offset a line from that centre dart line by 2 centimetres. Now this is where the magic really begins. I want you then to push your other pieces, so they're pivoting just at this point up here. I want you to push them so that the center of the original dart lines up with your new line there. Sellotape that in place. Okay, so let's mark on where our new apex has moved to. So it was here, but then we've shifted all of that down. So the new apex is here. Okay, so that's our new apex point. That's actually really important because we're going to now make some alterations based on that location. Okay, so we used our red pen just to mark out sort of changes, technical changes we were doing. I'm now going to use my blue pen just to annotate the new lines of our pattern piece. So to start off with, I want us just to extend the waistline to our new centre front. Don't forget that this waistline has got a slight grading to it, so it's not going to hit this at right angles. And then I want you to cut across this final line here completely. We're then going to drop this pattern piece so that it sits on the new waistline, and so the centre of the dart sits along that at that point really nicely too. So our new centre front line has now got longer. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to redraw our dart. So you can see our dart kind of is a bit confused, isn't it? The original dart went up to the original apex, now we've got our new apex, but our dart has got, well for me, it's got about 1.5 centimetres wider in total. The original dart was 3 centimetres. So let's measure how wide that new dart has become. So for me, my new dart is 5.2 centimetres. It was only 3. So I want you to draw in a new dart along with the centre of the dart being running up to the new apex, from the waist to the new apex, and draw a dart that's the same width as your new one. So draw that width of the dart at that point. But let's not forget that the top of the dart was 2 centimetres from the apex on our original block. So mark that point in and draw in your new dart line. So you can see that our waistline used to be that long, but we've now added in a little bit, but we've then removed it from over here. So overall, our waistline is the same length as it was before. So we've not made any changes to that, which is a good thing because that wasn't the fit adjustment that we were looking to do. We're just looking to create extra volume for our full bust. The next thing you'll notice is that the side seam here has obviously got a really big dart in it now, but the length of it is still the same as what it was before. When you close up that dart, the length of our side seam will remain the same. Let's mark in that apex point really nice and clearly. There we go, that's our apex there. So our original apex was there, so our bust dart originally started at the neck point and went to the apex. Our apex has moved, so our new bust dart line also just needs to shift and correspond to our new apex line. So draw a nice line from your apex up to your shoulder neck point. The next thing we're going to do is to open up that dart and close this one so that our block is looking the same as our original one. So we're going to cut along here like that, leaving a small pivot point there, and then we're going to cut down from there across there to open that up. Okay, brilliant. So now we're going to open up that dart by pivoting it at our new apex point. So you can see there now that we've got a much bigger bust dart up here compared to our original block, and we've also got a new waist dart here at this point which is wider. So all of that is giving us the extra volume we need to have extra fabric over the bust. We've also lengthened the centre front so that we've got more volume to cover over the bust before it hits the waist. And then the other thing to note is that our side seam has not changed at all, so it's going to tie in beautifully with our back bodice. Our shoulder seam also hasn't changed, so that's going to tie in really nicely with our back bodice. So everything has just extended and got bigger around the bust area. Now at this point I'd recommend that you trace around this, your final piece, and then transfer those changes onto your body block. And that way, using obviously a different coloured pencil, and that way you can clearly see the changes that you've made. You may find that this is quite a complicated change, and actually you just want to draw it out again really nice and neatly, so that you can just use that as a base in the future. Now, the only other thing that's worth saying is that your apex point may well need adjusting. So make a toile of this, because there's quite a few big changes to that. Make a toile, check your apex is in the right location, and obviously you're going to have to check the rest of the fit adjustments as well at that point. But don't forget that we've got lots of videos on our Minerva channel which talk about all the different fit adjustments that you will need to do. These have all been filmed in bite-sized pieces so that you can pick and choose which changes you need to look at for your block. I hope you found that really helpful. Thank you for joining me today. I will see you next time.